Hello. Very good morning, everyone. How are you all? Everyone fine. Last class, we started our batch. We started with India's introduction. We have completed chapter number 2. Chapter number 2, India's introduction, we completed. Whatever we have done, any doubt in that? No doubt? Follow. Now, let us do some questions which has been given in the ICI study material. Now, I hope you have understood. Now, actually, what I want to say is for the first time, ICI has given some question in this chapter. Means in previous all study material was actually applicable for old syllabus. They were same chapter, but no questions were given for this chapter in ICI study material. For the first time they have introduced. Now they have given some questions. It became important from examination point of view. Now from this chapter we can accept some questions from ICI in exam. But all are very simple questions because once you have understood, we can give answer for all the questions. From this chapter, from my expectation, they may ask MCQ based questions. Correct? Let us read. Following is the snapshot of an audited balance sheet of a company as on 31st March 2014. Correct? Now it is applicable for the page. Means when I say one correction you can do, one correction, actually this is actually not a phase. Phase 1 is this and phase 2 is this. Okay, one correction you do means when it was voluntarily given, so actually this was not a phase for application. So phase 1 is started from on a mandatory basis from 1/4/2016 and phase 2 was for 1/4/2017. One correction you do. Now we have understood that for 1st April 2016 we need to check net worth for the 3 previous financial year, and that also you have understood 13/14, 14/15 and 15/16. Means 13/14 the year end is what? 31st March 2014. 31st March 2014. Now if you read understand the question, if you read the question you will understand. Following is the snapshot of an audited balance sheet of a company as on 31st March 2014. I hope why it has been given. But can you say these are all past year? The questions should not be asked from this topic. Why? Because past year it is already applied. But to cross check the knowledge about India's applicability, they can ask in exam. Now they have given some question based on this. Of course, it become important. We can't say that it will not be relevant from examination point of view. Previously, we say that they will not ask question because in ICS study matter they have not given any question, and based on that applicability is over already over. Now they should not ask any question based on this. But now it become important. Now it become important. Understood what I am saying? Companies A's equity shares are listed. It is listed in Bombay Stock Exchange since 2010. It is a listed company. Correct. Equity share capital, securities premium, general reserve, valuation reserve, profit and loss account, liability, fixed asset, investment, current asset, miscellaneous expenditure not yet written off. So this is the balance sheet which is prepared as per existing accounting standard. Now we need to first cross check the net worth limit. We need to find out what net worth. As per the roadmap, which phase company A fall into? Means under which phase it will fall? Will your answer will change if the company is an unlisted company? The company A is an unlisted company. The first it is a listed company, then what will be the answer? If it is unlisted company, then what will be the answer? So we need to find out what net worth as on 31st March 2014. So let us calculate net worth. So net worth will be add equity share capital. Then we'll add securities premium. Then we'll add general reserve. Will we add revaluation reserve? Revaluation reserve will not be added. Profit and loss account, yes, it will be added. Liability not, asset not, but we'll do minus what? Miscellaneous expenditure not yet written off. So what is the answer? 160 plus 200 plus 150 plus 75 minus 80. How much? How much it is coming? You don't have calculator. Wow. Class, you are coming without calculator. Batao. Fast. How much? 500? 505. You can see they have also calculated 505 crore. It means, can you see it is a listed company and the net worth is more than 500 crore, equal to or more than 500 crore. So can you see this company, the Ind AS will be applicable under phase 1, means it will be applicable from 1st April 2016 on a mandatory basis. On a mandatory basis. So done. Correct now. You can see they have calculated, then they have given one note that revaluation reserve will not be paid. Why? Because this is not created out of profit. It is not created out of profit. So company A is a listed company and does meet the net worth threshold of 500 crore. Meet the net worth limit of 500 crore. Hence, it would be covered under phase 1. Phase 1 means from 1st April 2006. Hence, Ind AS would be applicable to company for the accounting period beginning on or after 1st April 2006. The second question, that if it is an unlisted company, so then it will be covered under which phase? So can you see, even though it is an unlisted company, it will be covered under phase 1 only, because for listed company, unlisted company, the net worth threshold is same under phase 1. Under phase 1. So even the company A is an unlisted company, as the company's A's net worth is more than 500 crore, it would be covered under phase 1, and therefore Ind AS will be applicable from the period beginning on or after 1st April 2016. And very, let us read the second question. I'm just reading to inform you that whatever we have done, that you have understood. However, you can do it by your own. But first class, let us read. Dire, 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 I will understand what you can do by your own and for what you require my help. Correct? Let's take in question number 1. In question number 1, they have made some changes. The balance of PL account is negative 375 crore. So now they are saying all information remains same. Only PL account have negative balance 375 crore. Means now what will be the answer? 160 crore plus 200 crore plus 150 crore and then minus 375 and minus 80. So how much it is coming? Batao. This question number 2 we are doing. How much it is coming? Batao. It is 55 na. 55 positive. 55 positive. Now it become 55. So you can see the net worth become 55 crore. So if the net worth become 55 crore, so it will not fall under phase 1 as well as phase 2. Understood. Therefore, Ind AS will not be applicable to such company. Therefore, Ind AS will not be applicable to such company. So when Ind AS should be applicable to company, to answer change if the company is an unlisted company. So what they have given? Let's see. Hence, it does not meet the criteria as mentioned in phase 1 listed company or net worth of 500 crore more. However, as company A is a listed company. So can you say because it is a listed company, so phase 1 to not applicable, but from phase 2 Ind AS will be applicable. So it is a listed company. Even though the net worth is less than 500 crore or less than 250 crore also, then also under phase 2 listed company, all listed company will be covered under Ind AS. So however, as company is a listed company, it will respectively be covered under phase 2, that is from which date? On of from the beginning 1st April 2017. You can see 1st April 2017. However, if it is an unlisted company, then it will not be covered, because for unlisted company under phase 2, the threshold is what? 250 crore or more than 250 crore. Ind AS would not be applicable until it breaches the net worth criteria mentioned in the roadmap. Means it covered under the net worth threshold. Understood? Correct? I think until it reaches not, until it reaches some type of mistake. Any doubt? Simple. This type of question we can answer. So this type of question may come as an MCQ. MCQ understood. So they will give 4 options. You need to pick one option. Then the net worth of company B an unlisted company, was 600 crore as on 31st March 2014. However, due to losses incurred in financial year 14-15, the net worth of the company was 400 crore as on 31st March 2015. From when company B shall apply Ind AS? What they said? For the year 13-14, the net worth was how much? 600 crore. And for the year 14-15, because of what? Losses, it become 400 crore. Correct? So can you say phase 1, what are the 3 years financial year? 13-14, 14-15, 15-16, one financial year. If it the threshold limit, then Ind AS will be applicable from which date? From 1st April 2016. Therefore, can I say the Ind AS will be applicable from which date? From 1st April 2016. Even though, in the next year, the net worth is less than 500 crore. Understood? So Ind AS will be applicable from which date? 1st April 2016. What is the answer given? Here the company net worth as on the cutoff date was greater than 500 crore. Cutoff date was what? 31st March 2014 only. He suggests that it should be covered under phase 1 of the roadmap. A question may however arise in the mind that since the net worth as on the immediately preceding year was 400 crore, would the company be covered under phase 2 of the roadmap? It may be noted that net worth shall be calculated in accordance with the standalone financial statement of company as on 31st March 2014. Accordingly, if the net worth threshold criteria for the company are once met, then it shall be required to comply with Ind AS irrespective of the fact that as on later date the net worth falls below the criteria specified. In view of the above, the company B will be required to follow Ind AS from which date? From 1st April 2006. Correct? Correct. Then next question. I'm just reading the question so that you can understand how to write answer if they ask descriptive questions. They may ask descriptive also. But from my point of view, from this type of chapter, they will ask MCQs on. Now, net worth of company C, an unlisted company, was 400 crore. Was 400 crore as on 31st March 2014. So, as of cutoff date was 31st March 2014. Correct? Why? Because the rule came in the year 2015. The rule came in the year 2015. The cutoff date became 31st March 2014. Understood? Why it is cutoff date? Understood? 31st March 2014. So on that date, can you see it does not reaches 500 limit criteria? Understood? However, the net worth of the company was 600 crore as on 31st March 2015. From when company B shall apply Ind AS? So can I say company B will be Ind AS will be applicable from which date? Under phase 1 only. So if any of the 3 financial year they reach the net worth criteria, then Ind AS will be applicable from which date? From 1st April 2016 only. Correct. Similar issue has been encountered in ITFG bulletin. So this is nothing but a clarification even in such ITFG bulletin. Issue number 1, which gives reference to the clause, because you are not supposed to write down this ITFG. Not know, they will not deduct marks. Just write down the answer. There is no need to memorize this bulletin number. Correct. For companies which are not in existence on 31st March 2014, so any company which was not incorporated on that date, quite possible. Correct. Or an existing company falling under any of the thresholds specified in sub rule 1 for the first time after 31st March 2014. So any existing company which specify the criteria of net worth after 31st March 2014, quite possible. The net worth shall be calculated on the basis of first audited financial statement ending after that date, in respect of which it meets the threshold specified in sub rule. It's simple word if I will say, means whatever I have given in my India Saransh book, any of the 3 financial year, if the net worth criteria is satisfied, then India will be applicable from this date, from 1st April 2016. Correct now. But this is the law language, and whatever I have given in India's Saran's book, that is simplified language. Of course, we can understand simplified language. Now, sir, whether we are supposed to write down this, please you can write down in your own words also. There is no need to write down exactly this much. You can write down that any company which satisfy the net worth criteria in any of the three preceding financial year, that is 13, 14, 14, 15, and 13, 14 is 31st March 2014, 31st March 2015, and 31st March 2016. Then Ind AS will be applicable from which date? From 1st April 2016. Hence, any company that meet the threshold specified in the company's accounting standard rules 2015 in a particular financial year, Ind AS will be applicable to such company in the immediately next financial year. Immediately next financial year. Hence, in the present case, the company C is covered under phase 1 of the roadmap, and accordingly the Ind AS will be applicable to company C for the accounting period beginning on or after 1st April 2016. Understood? Have you understood? Correct? Any doubt? No doubt? Simple? Now, question 5. Company D is a parent company of Group A. Company D is a parent company of Group A. Company A is an unlisted company having a net worth of 60 crore as on 31st March 2014. So, of course, Ind AS is not applicable in phase 1 as well as phase 2. Following are the other company of the group. Company B, unlisted company, subsidiary of company A. Company C, subsidiary of company B, 600 crore and 150 crore. Whether Ind AS is applicable to company A, B, C. Whenever this type of questions come now, I will say draw what? Always draw what? Some chart so that you can understand which is the parent company, which is a subsidiary company. However, you can understand from the question only, but why to take risk? Always do analysis before answering any question. Correct? What they have given, check करेंगे. Company D is a parent company of Group A. Is a parent company of Group A. Company D is a parent of A. Correct? Then Company B is a subsidiary of Company B. Company A. So Company B is a subsidiary of what? Company A. Got it? Then what they have given? Company C is a subsidiary of Company B. So Company C is a subsidiary of Company B. This is the diagram. Means Company D control A, Company A control B, and Company B control C. I know, I hope that you know control. Once any company control other company, the controlling party become parent company. The company with control becomes subsidiary company. So this is parent, subsidiary, subsidiary, subsidiary. You can see in this way. Correct? So A become parent of B, B become parent of. Now what they have given, what is the net worth? Company B 600 crore. Company B is what? 600 crore. Company C how much given? It is given 150 crore. 150 crore. And they have given for company A also. Company A is what? 60 crore. Company A is a 60 crore. Correct? So can I say in this diagram it is understood that, can I say B Ind AS will be applicable under phase 1 only. So if for B Ind AS is applicable, so can I say Ind AS will be applicable to A as well as C also. It will be applicable to A and C also. Understood? So what they have asked, what is the question? Whether Ind AS is applicable to company A. Yes, they have asked only about ABC only. So Ind AS will be applicable to A, B and C. A, B and C. They have not asked about D. Will not answer. Will not answer. I'll come to D in some other questions. But can you see it is understood if B Ind AS is applicable? Therefore, parent of B Ind AS will be applicable, and parent subsidiary of B Ind AS will be applicable. Correct? What is the answer? Company A and C are unlisted and they do not exceed the net worth criteria. However, the net worth of company B exceeds 500 crore, hence it is covered under phase 1. As Ind AS is applicable to company B, the parent of company B, that is company A, and subsidiary of company B, that is company C, also get covered under Ind AS irrespective of net worth criteria. Hence, Ind AS should be applicable to all the three company A, B and C. Now one doubt will come about D. Whether for D, Ind AS is applicable or not. So we'll come to that point. Some other question. Following next point. Following is the structure of community. Community. So you can see community has a subsidiary company E. Company E has two subsidiary company F and company associate also G. Company D has a subsidiary also company H, and company H has a subsidiary company I. This is the structure. Structure you have understood. All the company in the above structure are unlisted company, and the net worth of company E is 300 crore. So company E is 300 crore, and the net worth of all other companies below 250 crore. Means other company it is below 250 crore. To which company Ind AS will be applicable? So can you say company E will fall under phase 2, and for company E, Ind AS will be applicable from 1st April 2017. 1st April 2017. Yes. Now if we read, just try to understand. If you read the Ind AS rules, what they have given, to any company Ind AS is applicable, their parent company, their subsidiary company, their associate, their joint venture Ind AS is applicable. So can you say company is parent company, this Ind AS applicable? And can you say Ind AS is applicable to this also, and Ind AS is applicable to this also? Means no doubt about company D, no doubt about company F, no doubt about company G. Ind AS will be applicable from phase 2, that is from 1st April 2017. But one doubt will come about H and I. Can you say H is not a subsidiary of what company? H is a subsidiary of company D, and company D was not covered under Ind AS because of net worth criteria. Have you understood? One second. Let us read the rules. Rules was what? If you see A, B, and what they have said, parent, subsidiary, associate, and joint venture of above. So as per the rules, can I say as per the rule under phase 2, company B was in this point number B. Company B was in point number company B or company D? Company E, sorry. Company E was in point number B, and their parent. Who is their parent? Company D. Company D will come in point number C. Their subsidiary. So their subsidiary, who is subsidiary? Company F will come in point number. Company F will come in point number C, and their associate. Their associate means what? Company G. Company G will also come. But one doubt will come. What about what? H and I. So can you say H is a parent of, H is a subsidiary of D, and D was not covered in A and B. Point number A and B. Therefore, as per rule, can I say Ind AS is not applicable to H and I? As per rule. But can I say as per the intention? As per the intention, can I say H and I should be also covered, because can I say these are consolidated financial statement, and if these preparing consolidated financial statement based on Ind AS, so can I say H and I should also prepare their financial statement based on Ind AS only? So one clarification was required. So a clarification was given, and that clarification says that even though H and I is not covered under Ind AS as per rule, but can I say they need to provide some information based on Ind AS to their ultimate parent company, because ultimate parent company will prepare CFS based on Ind AS, and therefore either they should provide information based on Ind AS, means they can prepare their financial statement based on AS, and should provide information based on Ind AS for consolidation purpose, or they can voluntarily adopt what? Ind AS. Normally, practically, I will say they will voluntarily adopt Ind AS. Practically, because why to prepare an AS then provide information? Yes, auditor will die. Correct na? So of course an auditor will inform that you apply Ind AS only. Correct na? So practically they will apply Ind AS voluntarily, but this clarification was given in the rule. So your answer should not be based on practical whatever we are doing. Your answer should be based on clarification. So just what answer you will give? If for H and I they are not covered under Ind AS as per rule, but they need to provide information for consolidation purpose based on Ind AS, or they can voluntarily adopt what? Ind AS. Similarly, You see this point, this question right now. Can I say A was not covered under net worth limit? If I say, because B was covered under net worth, na, so their parent for A Ind AS is applicable, and their subsidiary Ind AS is applicable. What about D? So D will fall under this clarification only. Understood? And therefore, in that question, they have asked only about A, B, C. They have not asked about D. But can I say, if they are asking about D, so you need to say yes, not be covered in the rule, but they need to provide either, because they that will become ultimate. They will become ultimate parent company. The ultimate parent company, na. So ultimate parent company, if they are preparing CFS, they are preparing CFS, so they should prepare in AS, na. They should prepare based on AS. Now the question is that whether they can voluntarily adopt Ind AS. Yes, they can voluntarily adopt Ind AS. Otherwise, these all company need to provide information based on AS. So normally they can voluntarily adopt what? Understood? What is the answer given? As mentioned in the company's rules 2015, if the Ind AS is applicable to a company, it would be also applicable to their holding company, subsidiary company, associate company, and joint venture. As the turnover of company is above 250 crore, it would be covered under phase 2 of the roadmap. Hence, its subsidiary company F, associate company G, and holding company D would be also covered under Ind AS from 1st April 2007. With respect to other company of the group, following guidance is given in ITFG clarification bulletin number 15, issue number 10. This you are not supposed to memorize this number because it's not possible to memorize. Okay. It may be noted that Ind AS applies to holding subsidiary, joint venture, and associate company of the company which meet the net worth or listing criteria. This requirement does not extend to another fellow subsidiary of a holding company. Fellow subsidiary means what? Any subsidiary who have a common parent company. Is suppose A, B, and C. So these two are fellow subsidiary. B and C have a common parent company. So B and C become what? Fellow subsidiary. So if Ind AS is applicable to B, so whether Ind AS is applicable to C? No. Understood? Because that becomes C become fellow subsidiary, na? I hope you are understanding. Correct? They have used the term fellow subsidiary. These all terms I will only define when I will do consolidation chapter. What they are saying? This requirement does not extend to another fellow subsidiary of a holding company which is required to adopt Ind AS because of its holding company relationship with subsidiary meeting the net worth criteria. Holding company will be required to prepare separate and consolidated financial statement mandatory under Ind AS. One of its subsidiary meet the specified criteria and therefore such subsidiary is required by the holding company to furnish financial statement as per Ind AS for the purpose of preparing holding company consolidated Ind AS financial statement. So they are required to furnish information based on Ind AS. Such fellow subsidiary may, however, voluntarily opt to prepare financial statement as per Ind AS, or they will voluntarily adopt what Ind AS. Correct. Hence, the other company of the group, that is company H and company I, would not be covered under Ind AS. However, as mentioned in ITFG, company H and I would be required to prepare his financial statement under Ind AS so as to facilitate company D for the preparation of consolidated financial statement. I hope you understand. Hence, though statutory company means as per the statutory guidelines, they are not required to prepare financial statement based on Ind AS. Company H and I may continue to prepare their financial statement based on AS only, but it will have to converge to Ind AS. But it will have to converge to Ind AS for which purpose? Consolidation purpose. Moreover, they may also opt to voluntarily adopt Ind AS and prepare its statutory account under Ind AS. Correct. I'm just reading all the questions because these all are new questions. Correct. But already we have done. If you have understood the application part, you can understand by your own. ABC Limited is incorporated in a foreign country, has a net worth of 700 crore. It has two subsidiaries, Company X, whose net worth as on 31st March 2014 is 600 crore, and Company Y, whose net worth is 150 crore. Correct. whether company X and Y would be required to follow Ind AS from the accounting period commencing on or after 1st April 2006 on the basis of their own net worth or on the basis of net worth of ABC Incorporation. Have you understood the question? What they are saying? There is one company A which is a foreign company, has two subsidiary X and Y. These are Indian company, correct? Now the net worth of this foreign company is given how much? 700 crore. So can you say for this company though Ind AS is not applicable now? Foreign company, the company's account Indian accounting standard rules will not be applicable, correct? But what they have said, if for X it is 600 crore, 600 na, and for Y what is given? How much given? 150 crore. So why it is given 150 crore? Now can you say for X though Ind AS is applicable and from phase 1, but Y is a subsidiary of A. But can you say A is not covered in the rules only? So for Y Ind AS is not applicable. They can voluntarily adopt what? Ind AS. They can voluntarily adopt Ind. I hope you have understood. Let's see what they are. Similar issue has been dealt in ITFG clarification bulletin 2 number 2. ITFG noted as per the rule. Company X having a net worth of 600 crore at the end of financial year 50, correct, would be required to prepare its financial statement for the accounting period commencing. They have said okay. While company Y having a net worth of 150 crore in the year 1516, correct, would be required to prepare his financial statement as per company's accounting standard rules 2006. That means Ind AS is not covered. Since the foreign company ABC Incorporation is not a company incorporated under Companies Act, it is not required to prepare his financial statement as per company's Indian accounting standard 2015. As the foreign company is not required to prepare financial statement based on Ind AS, the net worth of foreign company ABC would not be the basis for deciding whether Indian subsidiary company X and Y are required to prepare financial statement. The clarification was given. Simple. Correct. Can you say even though you don't read clarification, now you can answer by your own because you have understood the concept. You can give all the answer by your own. Correct. One more. As per the roadmap, Ind AS is applicable to company X from the financial year 1718. Okay. From the financial year 1718 means under phase 2 na 1st April 2017. Company X non-finance company is NBFC. For NBFC the rule came from 1st April 2018. Understood? 1st April 2018. Is a subsidiary of company Y. Is a subsidiary of company Y NBFC. Acha, this is a non-finance. This is X is not a NBFC, but company Y is what? NBFC. Company Y is an unlisted NBFC company having a net worth of 400 crore. What will be the date of applicability of Ind AS for company X? For company X, because it is not a NBFC, Ind AS will be applicable from phase 2, correct? But my question to you, for company Y, it is a subsidiary of what? This company Y is a parent actually, because company X is a subsidiary of company Y. So company Y become parent of company X, but company Y is an NBFC. Whether Ind AS will be applicable from 1st April 2017? Yes or no? No. Their time applicability start from what? 1st April 2018 and then 19. So their net worth is given how much? Their net worth is 400 crore. And it is which company? Unlisted or listed? Unlisted company. So they will fall under which phase? Phase 2 means from 1st April 2019. Understood? Correct. If India's applicability date of parent NBFC is different from the applicability date of corporate subsidiary, then how will the consolidated financial statement be? I hope you have understood this point also. You can give answer by your own. Correct? You want to read, read. How many times I will read? You read only. Means you can also read, na? I'm just reading on your behalf. I'm just reading on your behalf. So this all the 8 questions are newly inserted questions. So pakka in your exam the one question is coming from. Out of these 8 questions, one question will come. Or they can create a similar question like this. They can create a similar question. Till now they have not given any question of banking company because Ind AS is not applicable. However, if they create a question of banking company, you need to say yes for banking company. Ind AS is not applicable right now. But it is quite possible before May 2024, Ind AS might be applicable for banking company also as per the clarity. However, it will not come. But there may be some guidelines. So that I will inform you. Nothing to worry about that. Any amendment I will only inform you na, that you are not supposed to worry right now. Correct. So from my point of view, this question you can do by own. By own. So from my point of view, this chapter, this applicability was over in last day. Only I was discussing the question. I hope you are understanding whatever I am saying. Chalo. One doubt came. Is whole syllabus covered in this online series? Okay. Of course, I will be covering entire syllabus only. Correct. Chalo. Now, already I said in last day, FR means Ind AS. And now we have understood to which company Ind AS is applicable. But from exam point of view, if they ask any question and question is silent about Ind AS or AS, you will apply which part? You will apply Ind AS only. So from exam point of view, Ind AS is only applicable. So you need to give answer based on Ind AS even if they are not clarified that whether Ind AS is applicable to that company or not. So you need to give answer based on Ind AS. However, there are some AS also from which question can be asked. Then they will 100% inform you that answer based on AS. However, from my point of view, they will not ask any question based on AS. They will ask question AS only. I hope you are understanding. Correct. So today we'll start Ind AS 37. Ind AS 37. So why you are not starting with Ind AS 1? This is my class. I will decide. You are not supposed to decide about that. Correct. So I have some order of teaching. So that order I follow in every batch. From the first date when the Ind AS was applicable, I am teaching this order. There is some reason because why I have taken that order. You will automatically understand what is the reason of that order. Understood? What is Ind AS 37? It is provision, contingent, liabilities, and what? Contingent assets. The moment I have written provision, contingent liability, and contingent asset, what comes in your mind? Which AS comes in your mind? Bolo? Which AS? AS 29. And AS 29 already you have done where in CA Inter? And you have understood also. Have you understood or not understood? AS 29? Oh, Baba. AS 29, have you understood or not understood? Either you say yes or no. Have you understood or not understood? Understood. Correct. Can you say you know about provision, you know about contingent liability, you know about contingent asset? Am I right or not? However, AS 29, Ind AS 37 only 5% difference. Means if you know AS 29 and I do the difference, you can understand Ind AS 37 also. Only 5% difference. So if I do the difference, then the chapter is over. Because already you have done AS 29 in CA Inter. But I will not do that. I will assume that you don't know anything. And I will start from the base and teach everything. You know, you don't know, that is not important. But I know I need to inform you, na? Correct? So I know, so I need to inform you that I know India is 37. So I am informing you. But the Okay, this terminology, provision, contingent liability, contingent asset is very much familiar to you. Then this is not a new term in your life. So can we start with some question to understand how much you know? So when I'm asking a question only to understand what is your level, so that I can reach to your understanding. Are you able to understand? Means suppose if you would have done CA inter from me, then I would have understood that yes, you know this much level, so I can start from that level. But right now I don't know from where you have done CA inter, so I don't know what is your level, so I need to reach your level now. Then only I can start CA final level. Correct? So can I ask some question from you, if you permit? First question: what is the meaning of provision? This is the first question. Second question: what is the difference between provision and contingent liability? Correct. Third question I will ask once you give answer for this. First question, what is provision? And second question, what is the difference between provision and contingent liability? Anyone who can participate? Follow. Fast. If you are not answering, then I need to assume that you don't know this chapter. Whatever you know, I said I don't require perfect answer. I don't require perfect answer. Just try to understand. What is the passing percentage in exam? This is 0 marks, this is 100 marks. What is the passing percentage? Batao. In one paper, how much you should score? Sir, ये तो this तो you know ना that I have already said you to participate, otherwise I'll go out of the class. 40, but chalo 40 aggregate how much you require in every subject? 50, 50, 50. So let us make one benchmark 50. So can you see if you score 50 in all subjects, you are CA or not? So let us make a benchmark of 50 only. So if you score 50, 50, 50, 50 in all, then now there are 6 subjects, sorry. So 3 3 na, so 50 50 50 50 50 50 you are C or not? Correct. Means out of 100 50 marks, but this is what average marks, or this is what more than average, or this is what exceptional marks? Average marks. 100 divided by 2 means you need to score only an average marks. Means what I want from you, that if you write average, you are CA. Means they also don't expect perfect answer from you. They don't want perfection from you. Perfection is 90 and more than 90 na. If I say you need to be perfect, means then you need to score how much marks? More than 90. But ICA don't demand only. ICA knows that if you are average, you can become CA. And they ask only 50 marks in all subjects na. If you are scoring 50 marks, okay, you become CA. Means we don't want perfect answer from you. Means if you give an average answer, you will get 50% and you will become CA. So need is only average, requirement is only average. So if you give average answer, you can become C or not. So I don't require correct answer from you. I don't require perfect answer from you. I require an answer from which you can get what, 50%. And if you can give me perfect answer, then think about rank. If you can give me perfect answer, means you can score rank na. Are bola re. So it means we need to understand whether our answer is perfect or average. Below average, so we need to improve it. It is below average, we require some improvement. Am I right or not? Means this is the only requirement. Only 50%. Just try to understand. When you were in class 10, you have written one exam. That was an important exam or not an important exam for your life? Class 10. Important exam or it was not an important exam? Important exam. Correct. But what was the target in that exam? Means what your parent inform you, how much you should score? Means what was your target? 90 or more than 90. Means your teacher, your parent used to come in the class or in your home, they used to say 90 90 90, and you started studying from 90 percentage point of view. Now you scored, you have not scored, that is not a point, but you are targeting 90 or more than 90. That was tough na. Means you are targeting 90 or more than 90. Now, if you scored less than 90, now they say, "Arey, average student." If you are scoring 90, then beautiful, wonderful, marvelous. Then came 12. Then came 12, na class 12. That was also one of the important exam of your life. Important exam, na. Now, what was the target in that exam? 70, 60, 80, 40, 90. In that exam also 90 only. Means your teacher used to say in the class 90, 90, 90. You should score 90. So in your mind it was 90 only. You achieve, you not achieve, that is not a question right now. But you are targeting 90. Means if you have not scored 90, somehow you feel bad. Am I right or not? Your parent also used to force you to study to score what? 90 only. That was tough, na? Yes, CAD 150. Only 50. Only 50, na? But which is more tougher? You only say. That was also an important exam. That was an important exam. You only said that was an important exam of your life. This is also important exam of your life. But here the target is 50 only. If you score 50 or 51 or 52%, you are CA. CA. You are CA, na? Means the student who is scoring 70%, the student who is scoring 50 or 51%, both are CA in the eyes of public. And public will never ask you how much percentage you have scored. Means once you become CA, no one will ask you how much was the percentage. They will say you are CA more than enough. Means anyone who is scoring 50%, 51% is equal to anyone who is scoring rank 1. Am I right or not? Both are CA or not. It is no matter how much you are scoring. But you should score more than what? 50, 50 or more than 50. But easy or tough? Now don't think about others right now. Think about the marks. Think about this. Right now, suppose you are very new to this. You have not discussed anything from others. What happened to others, that does not matter. You should think about you, yourself. How much you score in class 10? You scored, I think, more than 75 now. More than 70. You might have scored more than 90 also. Correct now? I'm not asking that. But more than 75 pakka you have scored. In class 12 also you score more than 75. Here they demand what? 50. So you are a student only. That time also you are studying. Now also you need to study. Easy or tough? You say. First you need to say that. Easy or tough? Easier than class 10 and 12. But why students do not pass? That is a question mark. That we need to understand. Why other students? You will pass. I'm not saying about you. Why others are not passing? That we need to understand. What actually happened? I am saying. What actually happened? When you were in class 10, so you ask your senior, have you passed the class 10? This yes. I think rare situation any student will say that they have not cleared. Very rare situation, na? 99% student will be promoted to class 11. Means positive empowerment. Positive empowerment. Even though you are very weak in mathematics, you are confident you will pass because everyone passed in the higher class. Those who are seniors, everyone passed. Same thing happened in class 12. Same thing happened in class 12, na? See, the senior who have written class 12 exam, oh, miss, I will say 99% student will be promoted. So once again, positive information came to you that everyone passed. Some of the students say that we have not studied also, then also they passed. Means they were studying only 1 hour, 2 hours, then also they passed. So you think that we are studying 9 hours, so we'll pakka pass. Am I right or not? But then came CA Foundation in your life. And CA Foundation syllabus, I will say more or less to class 11 and 12 only. If you combine 11 and 12, become what? CA. Only what was the exception? Law is an exception. And if you have mathematics, already you have done math. So maths was same to same only. Accounts was same, economics was same. But CA Foundation came. Syllabus was the more or less same. Law was also not tough. Law means English, na? English we need to understand. Am I right or not? But now you ask yourself, Reverse situation. Now 80% students started saying they are not pass, not pass, multiple attempts, multiple. What came in your life? A negative environment, and negativity came in your life. If they are not passed, then how can we? They have not passed. You will pass, Nare. They have not studied. They might not have studied as per the requirement of ICI. You will study as per the requirement of ICI. You will pass. But what happened when negativity came in your life? In GA, students are not passing, and that is in your mind, right? You think about others. You don't think about your efforts. Same thing will happen in CA final. Same thing will happen. Are you able to understand what happened? Are you getting what I am saying? So this negativity you need to remove from your life. Why I am saying this in the first class? Because I know why student fail. Student does not fail because of preparation, because everyone is studying. I have not seen a CA final student who is dedicated to become CA is not studying. They are studying only. They have taken coaching class and they are studying only. Studying for 10 hours, 11 hours is common. But then also they are not able to pass because of some negativity. Negativity is one question. They will always ask whether I will pass. And the answer will come, cannot pass. And that negativity will bring what? Some point. If one point will come, that you lose confidence. Understood? So that I am saying, as per percentage, as per demand by NCA, it is very easy. Percent perfection is not required only. That I am informing. So my question was that, what is provision? So I don't require perfect answer. How much you know that you say? Hello. What is provision? What is provision? Everything liability created based on past event. Means you are saying liability can be based on past and future. But those liability which is created based on past, provision. You are saying this? Then I will ask you, what is liability then? Then liabilities and provision are same. Liabilities and provision are same. Means all liabilities are provision and all provisions are liability. Some doubt. Doubt I have? Anyone? Anyone? Expense which may arise in future. Expense which may arise in future are provision. Expense which arise in future are provision. Okay? Expense which we are not sure become provision. Now correct? Will they yes or no? Much only. You may be correct, you may be wrong. But if you are wrong, you need to understand, yes, I am wrong. That only I said, accept your mistakes. So there is nothing wrong to say wrong answer. If you are saying wrong answer, then only you realize that yes, we don't know anything. That you should understand. Then only you will try to improve now. So when you discuss, then only you will understand, yes, this point I was not doing, I need some improvement. Am I right or not? But if that point is not known to you, whatever I will teach, you will say, Arey, this I know. So first I am just realizing what you know, then I will teach now. Got it? Expenses based on future contingencies. You have used one word, expenses which are based on future contingencies. Correct? So you have used one term, contingencies. So I'll ask you, what is the meaning of contingencies? Uncertain event. Contingencies depend upon uncertain future event. Chalo, theek. So I got many answers. Now let us close it. Let us start. So right now I am teaching you Ind AS 37, but before starting Ind AS 37, I am moving to accounting. Let us come to first AS. Now in AS there was one AS4. If you remember AS4, what was the title of AS4? Contingencies and event occurring after reporting date. His AS4 consists of two part, contingencies and event occurring after reporting date. Event occurring after reporting date that we are not discussing right now, we are discussing only contingencies. Now after introduction of Ind AS, that is after introduction of AS29, the contingencies part was removed from AS4 and has been transferred to what? AS29. But the meaning of contingencies was given in AS4. These contingencies was not defined in AS29. Contingencies were defined where? In AS4. Have you done the meaning of contingencies anytime? I think you have not done. Contingencies meaning you have not done. Because normally AS4 has that meaning and teacher at CA inter level don't teach AS4 to the extent of contingency considered. They teach only what event occurring after reporting date. I know what teacher teach in CA inter, what they don't teach in CA inter. I know. Have you done the meaning of contingencies in CA inter? Have you done? So it means I need to explain what is the meaning of contingencies. Right now I am explaining contingencies. Contingencies as per AS4. Meaning I am giving as per AS4. Okay, correct. So what is the meaning of contingencies? Contingencies are what? Are conditions or situations existing on balance sheet date. So contingencies are nothing but conditions or any situation existing on which date? Balance sheet date. Outcome of which? Outcome of which is outcome of that condition. This outcome can be either favorable, it can be either favorable or unfavorable to entity. The outcome of which is actual happening, result of that condition, outcome of which is not known on which date, outcome of which is not known on which date, on balance sheet date, correct. Which is dependent, which means what? Outcome na, which is dependent, which is dependent on what? Happening, on happening or what? Non happening, non happening of what? Uncertain, uncertain future event, uncertain future event. So that outcome is dependent on happening or non happening of future event which is uncertain right now, correct. Understood. And such future event, such future event is not within the control, within the control of entity. So this is the meaning of what? Contingency, correct. So contingencies means what? Condition or any situation existing on balance sheet date, outcome of which is not known, which is dependent on happening or non happening of uncertain future, which is not within the control of entity. Meaning is very much clear. So when I am saying existing on balance sheet date, it means what? This condition arises, this condition arises from past event ki future event. This condition is already existing on balance sheet date. It arises from past event ki future event. So, condition is already existing on balance sheet date. It arises from past event ki future event. Past event. So it means this condition arises from past event. Condition arises from past event. Understood this point? Meaning is very much clear. Meaning is very much clear. बोलना या सुनो. Once again, can I repeat? Contingencies are condition or any situation existing on balance sheet date. Outcome which is outcome of which is not known to us right now on balance sheet date, but it is dependent on happening or non-happening of future event which is uncertain right now, and that future event is not within the control of entity. That become contingent. Correct. Now, just try to understand. Let me take some examples. Now, examples I will not take accounting example. I will take real life example. Let us create some contingencies in our life, and let's see how we react in that contingency. Entire accounting policy, whatever has been given in India's ways, that is based on our real life only. See how we react in that particular situation. I'm just giving some real life example. You can say example number one. Suppose you are one student and there is one of your friend. Correct? This is Mr. A. This is Mr. B. Both has passed. Both has passed class 12 exam. Class 12 exam. Understood? Understood? Correct. Now Mr. A, because he passed class 12 exam, he has done registration for CS. Means he already done registration for. But Mr. B, even though he passed 12th exam, he don't want to do CA. He has only registered for BCom. He has registered for BCom, graduation in commerce. In commerce. Because they were commerce student. Correct? Have you understood? Now can you say this is right now one day, date of registration, date of registration. Correct? Already they registered. So can you say on this day there is one condition? There is one condition that they have registered for some examination. Correct? Some condition is existing or not? With registration there is some condition or not? So registration become past event, and because of that registration there is some condition which is existing on that day, outcome of which is not known. For both, outcome is not known. Whether they will pass the examination, that is not known. Yes or no? Outcome is not known, which is dependent on some future event which is uncertain. Whether they will appear or they will not appear for exam, that is not known to us. Future is uncertain, which is not within the control of this 2%. So can I say right now on this date of registration there is some contingencies in their life. There is some contingencies in their life. Have you understood? So how to react in that contingencies that we need to understand. How to react in that contingencies that we need to understand. That contingencies will based on some what? Some factor. So just try to understand this. Mr. A, because he has registered for CA exam, he will ask his senior what is the probability of passing. He will ask the senior na. So he will ask what is the probability of passing the exam. Understood? So the senior will say the probability of passing the exam is 20%. Am I right or not? The probability of passing the exam is 20%, means probability of fail is more than what? Probability of pass. Are you able to understand? Means in both Mr. A and Mr. B there is contingencies. But in Mr. A life the probability of fail is more than probability of pass, but he need to take some action or not. So what he will do? For safeguarding him from future losses, he will take some coaching. Means can I say He will go for coaching. Coaching means what? Classes. Means ICR never said take coaching. Huh? ICR never said take coaching. ICR said your ICR study material is the book where from where you can pass the examination without any coaching. But can you say because probability of fail is more than probability of pass, then if he takes some action, action is what he has taken coaching, but he has taken coaching, it does not mean he will pass. But can you say he has created some provision in his life? This is nothing but provision. Provision. Am I right or not? But if you think from Mr. B point of view, contingency is there. Once he registered for BCom, there is some contingency in his life also, but he will ask this here. What is the probability of passing in what? BCom examination. So they will say 90% is the probability that you will pass the exam. The probability of pass is more than probability of fail. So can you say, okay, contingencies were there. But can you say what he will say? No requirement of coaching. So no coaching, nah, he will not take any provision only. He will not create any provision. Because you know that without coaching he can pass. But both need to write exam. And even though after taking coaching, Mr. A may not pass. But can you say in these circumstances he has taken decision based on probability. Based on probability. This is contingent. I'll take one better example. This too I hope you have understood. Can I take one more example? This all example I take in CA Inter also. Is right now I am teaching CA Inter. From CA Inter I'll move towards CA final. Are you able to understand? Correct. Let me take one more example. Example number 2. A better example. Suppose you are writing what? CA examination. And today is your exam day. Today is your exam day. And this building is your house. Your house. Correct. And today is your first paper, FR only, exam day. And you are ready for exam. And you are highly confident that you will score 90 because you have taken coaching from CH. Already our target is what 90. You are highly confident. No doubt about that. So, and you are ready for exam hall. Correct. This is your exam hall. I hope you are understanding whatever I am saying. And the distance between these two is what? 1 kilometer. Understood? Distance is 1 kilometer. Have you understood this? Now, you need to go to exam hall by walking. So one assumption we are taking that there is no private transport, no public transport. Suppose the strike is going on and you don't have any friend or relative who will give you some what? Who will take you with them. There is no one. You need to go only by walking. One assumption I am taking. So you can't use public transport, you can't use private transport, you can't take lift from friend or relative. There is no one in your life. Parent are also outstation. Quite possible circumstances may come or not. Understood? You can't take lift from unknown person also. You go by walking on. Correct? Now what happened? The moment you started for exam hall, you have seen that in the cloud, in the sky, there is a black cloud. Understood? The moment you started from your house for exam hall, you have seen in the sky this black cloud. And this black cloud is a condition on exam day, outcome of which is not known, whether rain will fall or not fall, that you don't know. That is dependent on uncertain future event which is not with the control of this student, whether there is a contingency on this day or not. There is a contingency or not. The definition applied. Means can same contingency, this definition we can apply in our life also. We are already applying. So on this exam day, there is some contingencies in your life or not? Yes, you will react. You will react now. How to react that we need to understand, because you are a smart person having a smart mobile. You are a smart person because you are carrying what? Smart mobile nowadays. Are bolna re. Now smart mobile, there is a Google Baba. You'll ask Google Baba, what is the chances? What is the probability of rain in your area? You can type now weather report, and Google Baba will give accurate weather report. I hope you have also done like this. So Google Baba is saying that probability of rain is very high. Understood? Now once you ask Google Baba is saying what? The probability of rain is very high. But what action you will do? You will take umbrella or you will use umbrella. You will create provision or you will use provision. You will create provision. Means you will take umbrella na. When you will use umbrella, when the rain will fall. Otherwise you will not use it only. But can you say to safeguard against future losses, you are creating right now a provision or not? This is what? Contingency. And for this contingency, you are creating a provision. For these contingencies, you are creating a provision. Are you able to understand? But you are not using the provision. You are only creating. Provision will be used when the actual loss happens. So when you create provision, it does not mean the actual loss will happen only. It may not happen. But right now the probability is very high. Right now the probability is very high. So you'll take umbrella. It might happen rain is not, rain didn't came only. You'll come back to home. You'll keep umbrella as it is without using it. Have you understood? Better example or not? Better example? Let me change the situation. Let me change the situation. Same example, situation I will change. Same thing you started from your home. Same thing, black and black cloud. But with black cloud now wind is also flowing. Wind is also flowing. High wind is there. High wind wave. It is quite possible that after some point the black cloud will move from one place to another place. Understood? Quite possible or not. So I am just giving different scenario. But the moment you started for your exam or you have seen black cloud, once again you ask what? Google Baba. Google Baba, what is the probability of rain? So now Google Baba is saying probability of rain in your area is less. Why? Because of wind. It may be shifted from one place to another place within 10 minutes. So as per weather report given by Google Baba, the probability of rain in your area within 1 kilometer is very less. Now can you say it is always better to take umbrella? Means it is always better to create provision. Means I am not saying don't create provision. It is always better to create provision, but unnecessary will not create provision na. Unnecessary, why I will take load? Because I am going to exam hall, I want free. It is always better to create provision. Means I am not saying don't take umbrella in that situation. Take umbrella, boy. Are you able to understand what I am saying? So it is always better to create provision. But if suppose if you don't want to create provision, understand what I am saying? What you will do? Suppose you don't want to take umbrella because the chances are less. Chances are less, na? Chances of rain is less. Are you able to understand what I am saying? So you may decide not to take umbrella. So in that situation, what you will do? Can you say in that situation you will inform your friend, relative, or parent that I am going without umbrella. If rain come and save me, because this is very important exam for my life. Am I right or not? Means you'll disclose this fact to some other person as a contingent liability. As a contingent liability. Means from contingency provision and contingent liability will come based on the circumstances prevailing on that day. On that day means as per accounting on balance sheet day. On balance sheet day. This is contingency. This is contingency. I hope you have understood. With these two examples, you have understood the term contingency. That was the objective. Correct. Means can I say you have now understood the meaning? So what is the meaning of contingencies? Can you say? Contingencies means what? Can you repeat? Contingencies are conditional situation existing on balance sheet date, the outcome of which is not known, which is dependent on uncertain future event, which is not within the control of entity. Correct? Now, just try to understand. Means right now, can I say entire decision is based on outcome? Entire decision is based on outcome. Am I right? No. Entire decision is based on outcome. Correct. So can I say the outcome can be favorable or it can be unfavorable. Am I right or not? It is can be favorable or unfavorable. Correct. Favorable means can I say expected income, expected income. Hello. Expected income. Expected income means we can say inflow. Expected income. When I say income, income include gains. Means income is a wider term. Normally we in Bachpan it has been informed to that income or gain. But that is not correct. Income includes what? Gain. Income is a wider term. If you want to write down income will gain. And therefore now it's CA final. I am not saying income or gain because income is a wider term. Understood? Expected income. And when I am saying unfavorable, so it is expected expense. Am I right or not? Have you understood? Batao. The entire accounting treatment is based on which principle? You have done in your bachpan. This thing, whatever we are discussing, based on which principle? You know, bolo. Is based on what? बोल दो. Conservatism. Am I right or not? Conservatism. You have done conservatism. What is the meaning of conservatism? What is the meaning of conservatism? मजा नहीं आ रहा है because you are not reacting. I am not happy. I am not happy. Believe me, I am not happy. Okay, I already said whatever you know, you react. If you don't know, then also answer. Huh? Okay, you know conservatism. Now you may be wrong, you may be correct, but you should not think about that point right now. I've already said I'm happy that if you are giving wrong answer also. What is the meaning of conservatism? First raise your hand and then say. I need to understand to whom I need to listen. Follow. Who want to answer? Follow. Trying to mitigate. Trying to mitigate. Trying to we recognize future losses. We recognize future losses, but we do not recognize future income. That only you have done. Anyone want to change the definition? Means conservatism means recognizing all future expenses, but we should not anticipate any future income. Correct? So if you know this definition and you are happy with this definition, can I ask one question? My question to you all, suppose this is balance sheet date. So on this date you are standing, this is future na, and this is past. Am I right? Now, in future, can I say you need to incur many expenses because you are doing business, so you know you need to pay rent, you need to pay salary. बोलना रे. So you need to pay rent. Already a contract has been done. You need to pay salary to employee. Already contract has been done. अरे बोलना रे. So this become future expenses on this balance sheet date. Will you recognize here? Will you recognize these future expenses, his future salary, future rent? If you are saying no, it means your definition is not correct. Already I have asked you that do you want to change the definition? First, we need to realize, they could just right. We need to realize that what we know and what we should know. Understood? I have already said, I have just given a chance. Do you want to change the definition? You all said no, na. You all said no. I am just informing you what you know and what you should know. There is one question, just write one. चलो इसको छोड़ो. सब बकवास है. Come to the facts. My question to your CA inter exam was easy exam. It was also one of the tough exam. What do you think? It was easy or tough? Bolo. No, you pass, it become easy. ऐसा नहीं. When you were writing exam, it was 8 papers, 8 Mahabharat papers. All were new in your life that moment. Can I say except accounting, all subjects were new. Costing, FM, tax, IDT, audit. Means you have never done this type of subject before. Suddenly it came in your life. 8 subject, 9 months you need to write that exam. Are you able to understand? And books were also like this. You have never seen this thickness of book. Am I right or not? It was horrified. Horrible situation. It was tough or easy exam? Tough or easy exam? It was tough exam. It was tough exam. Correct. Now you passed that exam or you have not passed that exam? You passed that exam? You all pass. I don't want attempt. To pass means okay na. I don't want number of attempts. But you passed. Means you are capable of passing toughest exam. Am I right or not? So once you passed one of the toughest exam of your life, which everyone says, कि CA exam are toughest exam, not only inter foundation exam is also toughest exam. And that exam you passed. My question to you are average student or you are extraordinary student? You only say. You passed one of the toughest exam. And once you pass, believe me, everyone started saying that, "Arey, how you pass? बोल रहे सुनो, how you pass CA inter exam?" They were also thinking about that. कि my son has not passed till now any exam, but you passed. They started respecting you. Am I right or not? In your family also, the other person who were not liking you start liking you. After that, your respect increases in your family. Am I right or not? Because they understood that you will do something one day in your life. That much respect you get after passing CA inter exam. What will happen? Try to understand this fact. Now you pass CA inter exam. What I want to say is one of the toughest exam. You are an average student or you are extraordinary student. There is nothing wrong that say we are extraordinary, huh? Nothing wrong, na? अरे बोल ना रे. So you are average or extraordinary? Correct, na? You are not average. Now that this is okay. You are not average. You are more than average. This much confidence, so now you should have. And if you are saying right now, so you are average, then so I will have a doubt that how you pass CA inter exam might be by tukka. But you pass by writing exam paper, na? So you are more than average. You are more than average. But I will not say you are extraordinary. Why I will not say you are extraordinary? Because extraordinary item has been deleted under India. So now there is no concept of extraordinary item under India. So we are shifting from CA inter to CA final, na? Therefore, I'll give a new name to you. You are an exceptional student. Why not extraordinary? Because that term has been deleted from our life now. Under India, there is no extraordinary item. Under AS, there was a term extraordinary item. Under Ind AS, will not use extraordinary item. So you become which type of student? Exceptional. Can you say exceptional? There is no doubt that you are exceptional. There is no doubt. I have no doubt. Because it is not easy to pass CA inter exam under the circumstances. And you also know the passing percent 20% only. 80% have not passed. You take multiple attempts, so I will say only 40% students have passed CA. To count multiple attempts also. 40% out of 100, 40% will come to CA final. 60% will not be able to come. Exceptional or average? You are exceptional. Now one doubt will come. If you are an exceptional student and you pass CA inter exam, you are coming to CA final. What is the reason that is CA final? So we are taking multiple attempts or we are not able to pass. This is one question to understand. A student who passed one of our toughest exam is now struggling where? In CA final. The reason we need to understand. And if we do not know the reason, we will not be able to change it. Are you able to understand what I am saying? You pass one of our toughest exams, CA inter exam. I am saying, of course, you are exceptional. But then also, the student who pass CA inter exam are taking multiple attempts in CA final or are not able to clear only. What can be the reason? What can be the reason? Reason I will say. In CA inter, as per ICA, working knowledge is required. Working knowledge, conceptual knowledge is not required. Working knowledge. Working knowledge means if I say accounts, journal entry, ledger account, this. Means without understanding the concept, if you have done a lot of practice, you will pass. And believe me, in CA inter, your teacher used to focus on practice. Lot of sum used to do in class, practice. Without understanding concept, you pass. Am I right or not? Means you don't know the concept. You don't know accounting standard. You have understood, but actually you have not understood. That I have informed you right now. Means even though you do not have detailed understanding about the concept, but with a lot of practice you pass. Because CA inter exam is based on working knowledge. ICA only say this. Only working knowledge is required. Just I just don't want to demotivate you. I already said you are exceptional. You are exceptional. Can I ask one question? Let's see how many of you want have an ability to give correct answer. I don't want correct. I want average answer only. As per ICA standard 50% mark na. I don't want perfect answer. But let's see. I just give a very simple. I just want to ask a very simple question. I just want to inform you that without knowing the concept, you came to CA final. But in CA final, conceptual knowledge will be required. This is the difference. Can I ask one question? You know real account, personal account, nominal account? CA foundation. I went to CA foundation actually. Real account, nominal account, personal account. Once again, I am not demotivating you. I am motivating you to change yourself. Otherwise, ICA will change you. Do you know real account, nominal account, personal account? Can I ask one question? What is real account? Don't give me the rules, huh? Don't give me the rules that everyone knows. Real account means debit what comes in, credit what goes out. I also know, you also know. But what is real account? Which account will be known as real account? Collapse. Collapse, na? Yes or no? If whatever answer you know, you may be wrong, you may be correct, whatever is in your mind, just say. I said I don't require correct answer. I require what? Average answer. You can react na. Bolo. Huh? Cash and bank, you are giving example. First though. Only cash and bank are real account. You are giving example. I am not asking example. I say what is asset? You are saying building, machinery. Are by define asset na? Means you know but you don't know. And you pass CA foundation, CA inter without understanding the meaning of real account. Suppose you become CA in interview, somebody asks you what is real account. If you are not able to answer, what impression you are creating? What impression you are creating? They will say how you passed. If you don't know what is real account, how can you come here? Am I right or not? बोल दे yes. This is the time to change. Otherwise, who will change? ICI will change you. ICI will change you pakka. What is real account? I hope, I hope you are understanding why I am asking. Very simple term, but we are not able to define it. I am giving you one day. Go home, ask anyone, whoever is known to you. He can be your senior, he can be chartered accountant, he can be your in your office mate, he can be your principal. You can refer any book, you can refer any Google Baba, but research and give me the answer. Correct? What is the meaning of real account? I will not inform you because this is not my syllabus only. My syllabus is a final. Understood? I am giving you one day. I just want to cross check how much you have eager to learn. If you are eager to learn, then only you do research. Otherwise, you will come every day and go. Understood? One day I am giving, but I have just given one point that you pass CA inter without conceptual knowledge. You pass CA foundation without concept. But in CA final, ICA says conceptual knowledge is required. Now, if you will not change, if you follow same process of learning, but you have followed in CA inter multiple attempts. And now, what is required? More concept, less practice. Now, if you do 100 questions, then also you will not be able to pass in exam. If you have lack of concept. Believe me, in all past examination question, 90% questions come from ICA. Dot to dot. Means all CA students are doing that questions. Then also they are not able to score more than 50. More than 40. What is the reason? Same question is coming. But they are not able to write because of lack of concept. So now the focus should be on what? Concept. The focus should be on understanding. Focus should be on practicing with concept. In CA inter, believe me, you used to read question, then you used to do solution, and you understand question from that solution only. If for this question, this solution. Am I right or not? Means you used to develop solution by reading solution only. If for this particular question, this is the answer. But now the entire scenario will change. I am just giving you how to study at CA final. Correct? And that's why I am discussing this much concept. Conservatism, you said, recognize all future expense. So this definition is not wrong. Means definition whatever you have done in CA inter, CA foundation, whatever your teacher said, I don't know what they have said, but I think most of teachers say this only. That is a wrong definition. You passed without understanding the definition of conservatism. This is the wrong. You also know this is wrong. This is wrong to your definition of conservatism. Conservatism does not mean recognizing all expected expense. Conservatism means recognizing all expected expense arising from past event, and this is future event. This is future event. Am I right or not? So one keyword you are missing. As a CA, you should know accurate answer, and only then you will become CA. Otherwise, what is the difference between accountant and chartered accountant? There's a lot of difference, na? Accountant and chartered accountant. You are doing accounting course or chartered accountancy course. So you should have the in-depth knowledge in accounts. and I am here to give you entire knowledge. Nothing to worry. I will teach you from CA foundation level. CA foundation level because I know, what you don't. Means this outcome arising from what? From what? Past event. Correct. Outcome of the condition and condition arising from past event. This can be two, favorable and favorable. Now I hope you have understood. If favorable means expected income and it will not be recognized. It will not be recognized now. It will not be recognized. And these are known as contingent asset. Detailed discussion will be done when I will come to Ind AS 37. This is known as contingent. Understood? Have you understood? Unfavorable, there can be two situations. But this chapter is under Ind AS, under accounting standard, what we have done. If the amount of expenses is probable, means the outcome is probable. Probable means what? Chances are more than 50%. Probable means chances are more than 50%. And amount can be estimated. Amount can be estimated. Then we recognize what? Recognize provision. We recognize provision means we pass journal entry. So journal entry is what? Expense account debit to provision. Expense account debit to provision. The expense will be transferred to PL. So we pass one compound journal entry, PL account debit is one net journal entry, PL account debit to provision. But his expense being a nominal account will be transferred to PL. We can say PL account debit to provision also. Correct. Then in other case means what? If any one or both the condition is not satisfied, means it is not probable or amount cannot be estimated. If amount cannot be estimated means we cannot pass journal entry only. Therefore, in this case, it will be disclosed as what? Contingent liabilities. Have you understood this point? Contingent liability means everything is coming from a definition of contingencies. Have you understood this point? Correct. Now, or let us go to further. Now, when I am saying expected expenses, we are discussing about this now. Unfavorable situation. So when I am saying expected expenses means including loss. It will include what? Loss, na? Including loss. Want to write down? Include what? Loss. Correct. Now, can this expected expenses can arise due to what? This can arise due to either decline in the value of asset, or due to increase in the value of what? Value of bolo, liabilities. Am I right? These losses may arise either due to decline in the value of asset or due to increase in the value of liability. This can be two possible situations of expense and loss. This can be two possible situations. Now, when I am saying increases in the value of liability, means can I say there is some outflow of resource? Outflow of resource or not? Outflow of resource in future. So due to such expected expenses, will be some future outflow of resource. And because there is an outflow, can I say because there is an outflow, therefore it will be either provision or what? Contingent liability based on circumstances. Have you understood? And for these, Ind AS 37 is applicable. Means for this AS 29 was applicable. Have you understood? Means can I say these provisions are liabilities? Can I say these provisions are liabilities? Am I right or not? These provisions are liabilities. These provisions are liabilities. Understood? Have you understood this much? When I am coming to this part, decline the value of asset. Okay, there is no outflow of resource. There is no outflow of resource, and therefore these are not liabilities. These are not liabilities. Am I right or not? Liability means outflow of resource. There should be some outflow of cash, etc. Understood. Therefore, it is simply an adjustment, an adjustment to asset, simply known as an adjustment to asset. And such adjustment to asset is known as impairment loss. We call it what? Impairment loss. A new term in your life. A new term in your life is from inter we are going to final. A new term in your life, impairment loss. Impairment loss. Have you understood? There was one accounting standard AS 28, impairment of asset, that was not in CA interest, and therefore you don't know anything about impairment law, and therefore I will not ask any question on that. So whatever you have done, that only you are not able to reply. Whatever you don't know, how can you reply? Simple, correct? But I hope whatever I'm writing, you are understanding. Whatever I'm writing, you are understanding. Before going further, can I ask one question? Provision for doubtful debt. You have created many times. Provision for doubtful debt. Whether it will come the first part or second part. Provision for doubtful debt will come in first part or second part. Means first part decline in the value of asset, second part increase in the value of liability. Understood what I am asking? Provision for doubtful debt, this too you know. This everyone knows na. So provision for doubtful debt will come in first part ki second part. बोलो? Either say first or second. There are two options and there is no negative marks. First part, everyone saying first part is correct only. Yeah. Means you have an ability to give correct answer. Say yes or no, na. It is correct only. So you have an ability to give correct answer. Am I right or not? It is first part. So my question to you are, if you are saying provision for doubtful debt is in first part, means it represents decline in the value of debtor and debtor is an asset. 100% correct. My question to you all, whether provision for doubtful debt is a liability, whether provision for doubtful debt is a liability, whether provision for doubtful debt is a liability. For a confidence, yes, no, whatever you're saying with full voice. Provision for doubtful debt is a liability. No or yes? How many are saying yes? No, only because already I have written these are not liabilities. Means if you are referring my concept, you need to say it is not a liability. Then so whatever I'm writing that is only wrong. Means can I say provision for doubtful debt is not a provision only? Because these are provision and provisions are what? The provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. It means the name given to this account is actually not correct. So I will say provision for doubtful debt is not a correct terminology. So it means now it is a time to change that terminology. In CA Inter, whatever you have done, that I am not saying whether it is wrong or correct. But in CA final, now we are understanding that provision for doubtful debt is not a liability. If you are saying it is not a liability, so these are not provisions because provisions are what? Liability. And you all know that provision for doubtful debt is not written in the liability side, it is written as a deduction from debtor in the asset side. So it is only an adjustment to asset. If it is not a liability, how can we call it provision? Wrong terminology. These are what impairment laws. So now we'll call it impairment laws. Have you understood? It means let us understand types of asset. Means asset can be inventory. For this, means any decline in the value of inventory will be covered under Ind AS 2 coming soon. Ind AS 2 means it is not covered under Ind AS 37. However, this also arises from contingencies only. But whatever arises from contingency, this is covered under Ind AS 37. This is not covered under Ind AS 37. In AS2, because you have done AS2. AS2, inventory is measured at what value? Cost or NRV means net realizable value. Whichever is lower. Why lower? Decline in the value of asset. That is impairment loss covered under AS2, now in AS2. Already you have done. That was also due to contingencies only. Correct? Then property, plant and equipment. You know property, plant and equipment? You have done AS10 property, plant, equipment. We call it PAS what? P. Intangible asset, IA. IA means what? Intangible asset. If you want to write down full intangible asset. But IA means intangible asset. This will be covered under Ind AS 36 coming soon. Coming soon. Impairment loss. These are all impairment loss. We are discussing about impairment loss now. Then receivable. Receivable. Receivable means debtor. Any receivable of whatever nature. It can be trade receivable. It can be non-trade receivable. If you have a doubt about a recovery, you need to create impairment loss. That impairment loss is covered under Ind AS 109. But can is now such now such for such loss means such impairment loss. Allowance for bad and doubtful debt account will be used. Means now will not call it what? Provision for doubtful debt. That is a bakwas terminology. Now that provision for doubtful debt that should be deleted from your life. Now we'll call it allowance for bad and doubtful debt. Allowance for bad and doubtful debt. Correct. There are some other assets also, but right now I don't want to discuss about other assets. Automatically it will be covered in later classes. Because if I say biological asset, you will die right now. You don't know what is biological asset. There are many other assets which you don't know right now. So right now I'm not giving the reference of that asset. Understood? But have you understood difference? Difference you understood? So these are covered under specific Ind AS. This is not covered under Ind AS 37. The scope of Ind AS 37 is this. If you have understood this much, can I ask one question? Okay, first, one very simple question, then I will ask one question. Under AS, it provision for doubtful debt. Many questions also have been asked about provision for doubtful debt as per accounting. But as per which AS? False. But you don't right or not. But in CA final, you don't know. Then what will happen? Multiple. This is the difference between CA inter and final. Otherwise, so I will say you are exceptional. But now out of exceptional, best will become what? ICI will only choose what? 199, yeah, 399, not a CA. You got 200, 200. This is the rule. We need to follow that rule. One marks is very important in CA. Am I right or not? With 1 mark, 6 month difference. 6 month. As per which AS? One thing you want to say, AS 29 is not covered. AS 29 is not applicable. So whatever you have done, actually this was covered in the AS 4 only, but that was not informed to you. Against for other contingency, AS 4 will be applicable. AS 29 is not covered. So what will be covered for that contingencies? AS 4 will be applicable. Normally in exam, if they ask a question about provision for doubtful debt and if you have written AS 29, I don't know whether they have given marks or they have not given marks, but that is not correct. So write on as per AS 4, provision for doubtful debt. Contingencies part. But chalo, theek hai, I am not teaching you. Yes, I am just moving from inter to final. I'm just taking my time. I'm just giving you time to adapt with me. Adapt with me. Because I am going to kill you. I'm going to kill concept, concept, concept. Okay. Now, one last question, whether you have understood or not. Is this question is a but a throw question, so that I can understand whether you have understood whatever I have discussed. Normally, whatever I've there is one full of my question. Whatever question I ask now, that question is based on my previous concept. Means I will never ask a question based on future concept. So that we don't recognize only. We don't recognize future event now. We recognize only past event. So can I ask any question based on future concept? No, that is not correct. Understood? So whatever I will ask from my class question only. Based on my concept, not based on C enter. Whatever question I'm asking C that is only to your level. Okay? So now, provision for depreciation, you all know. Anyone who don't know provision for depreciation? Silent like this. You are now thinking what's our question will ask. Provision for depreciation will come in first part, second part. First part. Anyone saying second part? No part. First part. Everyone saying first part? So for your information, provision for depreciation neither come in first part nor come in second part. Depreciation is not because of consumption. Depreciation is outside the scope of this topic only. The depreciation we do based on conservatism. What is the meaning of depreciation? Depreciation का meaning क्या होता है? What is the meaning of depreciation? Are you asking this type of question? How to calculate depreciation? Depreciation. Sir, please don't trouble us. I will trouble. Depreciation meaning means what? Apportionment of capital expenditure. Means whether depreciation is decrease in the value of asset. Whether depreciation is decrease in the value of asset. Although yes or no. I'm asking something, then also you are silent. Depreciation is decrease in the value of asset? No, you don't know it. Depreciation does not mean decrease in the value of asset. Even the value of asset will increase when you depreciate. Depreciation does not mean decrease in the value of asset. Wrong concept. Pass CA foundation, pass CA inter. But in interview, somebody asks you this question, they will say bye bye. They can ask this question in interview. And you know when the first only I have faced only one interview, Deloitte. I was selected. But the first question, whatever they asked in technical round was for depreciation. They will cross check your basic knowledge with these lollipop questions. My first question was also related to depreciation. I don't know whether I have given correct answer or wrong answer, but I was confident with whatever I have said that time. So I was also just like you when I passed here. I was just like you. I was not more than exceptional. I was exceptional, but I understood what is the requirement of ICA before writing exam. Correct. So depreciation is not a decrease in the value of asset. And if you are saying depreciation is decreasing the value of asset, means still not you have done nothing. Because a machinery value may be increased, but then also it will be depreciated. Depreciation means systematic allocation of depreciable amount in the during the useful life of the asset. Due to which concept? Due to matching concept. Due to matching concept. Right now I am not asking what is matching concept. Understood? Means can you say if you are using provision for depreciation, so that is maha bakwas thing. Provision for doubtful debt, chalo theek, okay, because that is due to contingencies. But provision for depreciation, how can you name it provision for depreciation? Even though in ICI study material they are also using provision for depreciation. I have a doubt who is creating that ICI study material. One thing is clear that ICI study material is not created by CA. Or if they are created by CA, they don't have the knowledge only. Me, for becoming CA, perfect knowledge is not required. Perfection is not required only. Because provision for depreciation is not a correct term. Acha, you have done articles, you are doing articles in office. I think you are preparing schedules or notes for fixed asset or property plan. Am I right or not? That much you are doing. In that notes, which terminology you are using? Accumulated depreciation. A C will never use provision for depreciation. And therefore, in your office, you are using accumulated depreciation. They will never use provision for depreciation. If they are using provision for depreciation, we have a doubt about them, whether they are CA or they are non-CA. Means the correct terminology is what? Accumulated depreciation. Provision for depreciation is 100% wrong terminology. If you want to write down. Depreciation is not decline the value of asset. It is recognized in PL as an expense due to which concept? Due to matching. concept. Therefore, provision for depreciation is an incorrect terminology, and correct term is what? Accumulated depreciation. I mean, depreciation is outside the scope of our discussion right now. Na? It is not covered in above discussion. Because same thing I have not written for provision for doubtful debt. Because provision for doubtful debt is because of contingencies. चलो ठीक है, you are using provision चलेगा. But for provision for depreciation should not be used. 100% wrong term. 100% wrong term. With this, I just discussed contingency. Now we'll start what? Ind AS 37. Still now we have not started Ind AS 37. I think you have understood my teaching. I am going in detail. And now with the new scheme, this telling I used to do old syllabus also this much. Correct now. Same technique I'm using. But that time, because MCQ question was not asked, sometimes we used to feel that why I'm teaching this much detailing. But I used to say this much detail because ultimate objective is to become CA, not to pass CA. Ultimate objective is not passing. Ultimate objective is earn higher remuneration in the market, and that will come from your knowledge, not from your degree. Every CA are not earning higher remuneration. Those who are earning, they are exceptional. Those who are not earning, they are below average. Understood? Correct? So now, can we come to India's 37? But before that, if you want break, can we take break? Understood? We'll take break. After break, we'll start India's 37. थोड़ा सा बन थोड़ा सा इंटरेक्टिव Hello. Can we start once again, everyone? Now, before break, we have understood the contingent part, but till now we have not started India's 37. Means the syllabus is started now. They are starting India's 37 now. Okay. But now you will find that it will become very easy to understand. Once your concept is strong, now you will find no difficulty in the understanding India's 37. Means by explaining that I have decreased my load only. So I am not doing any favor to you. I am doing favor to myself. Nothing is free in India. Understood now? So I am decreasing my load. Understood. But with that, you have also understood conceptually what is actually contingencies. Now let us come to provision, contingent liabilities, and contingent asset as per India's 37. So first let us define provision, then we'll come to contingent liability, then we'll come to contingent asset. The first meaning part let us do. So provision means what? Provisions are liability. Now you know liability. Provisions are liability of uncertain timing or amount. Means either timing is not known to us, timing means the payment date is not known to us, or amount of payment is not known to us, or both are not known to us. Means can I say any liability with certain amount and certain timing that are not provision, that are liability only, that are liability only. Are you getting? Means any liability with certain amount and certain timing, they are not provision, they are liabilities only. Means can I say in this way, if you have understood this sentence, all provisions are liability but all liabilities are not provision. All provisions are liability but all liabilities are not provision. So can I say in this way, from these, all provisions are liability but all liabilities are not provision. It means, now you'll ask me, sir, what is liability? Now you'll ask me what is liability now. You are not going to leave me. Am I right or not? Array. Now you'll ask me what is liability? Till you understand each term, you are not supposed to leave me. So now let us understand what is liability. Can I say, till we understand liability, we don't know what is provision? Because provisions are liability. So first we need to understand what is the meaning of liability. So can I say provisions are liability of uncertain amount or timing? Provisions are liability of uncertain amount or timing. So what is liability? So liability means present obligation arising from past event. 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 Means one thing is clear, all obligations are not liability because only present obligation are liability. So what is present obligation that we need to understand? Am I right or not? Sir, what is present obligation? What is present obligation? So what Ind AS 37 as well as AS 29, both are more or less same. So obligation are present obligation if they are probable on reporting date. Reporting date means balance sheet date. Ind AS has used the term reporting date instead of balance sheet date. So now whenever I am saying reporting date, that is nothing but balance sheet date. So if any obligation are probable on reporting date, that obligation become present obligation. So what is the meaning of probable? Probable means chances are more than 50%. Chances are more than 50%. When I say chances are more than 50%, it means what? Chances are more than 50%, it means chances of happening is more than chances of non-happening. Means chances of occurrence is more than chances of non-occurrence. So occurrence of what? Chances of occurrence of loss is more than chances of non-occurrence of loss. Understood? Have you understood this point? Correct. Means, can I say present obligation? What is the meaning of present obligation? Present obligation means what? A past event is deemed to give rise to a present obligation if it is probable. If it is probable on which date? On reporting date. on reporting date. Now probable means more likely than not. A key word, more likely than not. More likely than not means chances are more than 50%. Means if chances of occurrence are more than chances of non-occurrence, it is probable. So I hope you have understood present obligation. Let us once again come to the definition of present obligation. Present obligation, liabilities are present obligation arising from past event. Liabilities are present obligation arising from past event only. We are discussing about past event, correct? And the settlement, and the settlement of which, and the settlement of which means what? And the settlement of obligation, which obligation? Present obligation. And the settlement of present obligation is expected to result in an outflow of resource from the entity. Means can you say it will be settled in future? Not now. Means settlement will be done in future through outflow of resource, through outflow of resource. So resource means what? See, resource is nothing but cash or any other asset. It can be any other asset. Means it can be non-cash also. It can be non-cash also. So can you say outflow can be either in the form of cash, or it can be in the form of any other asset. It can be in the form of any other. Correct. Once again, what is the meaning of liability? Liability means present obligation arising from past event, which is expected to settle, which is expected means the settlement of which is expected through outflow resource from entity. So that become what? Liabilities. Now once you have understood liability, can I ask you some questions? Whether it is a liability or it is not a liability. Means if you see this balance sheet, horizontal balance sheet bachpan, horizontal balance sheet bachpan. So this right side is what? Asset. And this left side, left side, left side. Ah, now give answer as per CA finance. You are saying liability. If you don't know anything, I will say go to CA foundation. What is the accounting equation? Equity plus liability is equal to asset. So this side is equity and liability. Means can I say we need to understand this side whether it is equity or liability. Means either it will come at the top, it will come at the bottom. Bottom means what? Up means what? Equity. This side there is no analysis required. All are asset, but this side it can be equity as well as liability. Equity is not a liability. Equity is not a liability. I'll just give some example. You say me whether it is a liability or equity. Based on CA final understanding, now you know the meaning to apply meaning only. Whatever you have done in CA Intel, ignore it. Completely ignore it. But you will not ignore, I know. But I will help you how to ignore. I'm just giving some example. Debenture. Debenture. Equity liability. Liability. Equity share capital. Equity. Correct. Redeemable preference share capital. Redeemable preference share capital. Redeemable preference share capital. Equity or liability? How many are saying equity? How many are saying liability? How many are saying liability? How many are saying equity? This is what? This is what? Either this or this. What? You are giving blessing to me. Follow. Is doubt आया. Apply definition na. Now you know the definition applied. Present obligation arising from past event. Already a contract has been done with preference holders. Give rise to present obligation arising from past event, which is expected to result in outflow of resource. It will redeemable in cash only na. It is a liability equity. Liability, but in CA you have shown under share capital or liability. Under share capital means whatever you have done in CA is going to change in CA final. Is going to change in CA final. A revolutionary change will come in accounting with index. With index. Understood? Understood this much? So So three example I have taken. I hope you have understood. Now I'm not going to liability. Slowly, you will become expert in all these definitions. Liability, you understood? And can you say liability of uncertain amount or timing? It become what provision? Means liability of certain amount and timing is what? Only liability, not provision. Can you say when I am saying uncertain amount or timing, so for recognition we require that amount. So some estimation required, so which require measurement by substantial degree of estimation. Substantial degree means the estimation approximate, accurate. Understood? It should be near to accurate. Understood? Correct. But which require measurement by substantial degree of estimation. Now you'll ask me one question: how to measure? That is a topic which will come. How to measure is what? Later topic. But of course, we need to understand how to measure the amount of provision. Understood? I think you have understood. Now just try to understand on reporting date. First, you need to find out obligation and which obligation, present obligation. Present obligation arising from past event. But can I say all past event will not give rise to obligation reporting date? Nah. It is quite possible that past event the obligation is already expired. So that past event should not be considered for this chapter. But Ind AS 37 says that those past events which give rise to obligation on reporting date are known as obligating event. So for this chapter, which event is required? Obligating event is required. Obligating event is required. So what they are saying? Those past events which give rise to obligation on balance sheet date are obligating event. Means if there is no obligating event or reporting that this chapter is not applicable. Means first you need to identify whether there is any obligating event or reporting date. Yes, then this chapter will be applicable. Ind AS 37 will be applicable. Understood? Have you understood? It means what Ind AS 37 says that when to recognize provision. When to recognize. Recognition means what? When to recognize provision. It means what? It means when to record journal entry in books of account. When I am saying recognition, recognition means recording. Recording na. Ki when to record in books of account. So what Ind AS 37 that if three conditions are satisfied. If how many conditions? Three conditions. And all the three conditions are satisfied, then we recognize provision in our books of account. This will pass journal entry. So what are that three conditions? Three conditions has been taken from the meaning only. First, there must be present obligation arising from past event. There must be present obligation arising from past. Outflow of resource which is required to settle the obligation is also probable. Outflow must be also probable. And a reliable estimation can be made for the amount or timing of the obligation. You cannot estimate. If you can't record, if you can't record, then you can't recognize. The estimation required, a reliable estimation can be made for the amount of obligation. Means if all these three conditions is satisfied, then we recognize provision in our books of account. Otherwise, we will not recognize provision. So there must be present obligation arising from past event. There must be present obligation arising from present obligation. You have understood? Now, Ind AS 37 says these obligations are of two types. These obligations are of two types. So these are obligation arising from past event are of two types. One is legal obligation, one is constructive obligation. Legal obligation and constructive obligation. Constructive obligation, new term in your life. AS 29 was silent regarding this. AS 29 was silent regarding this. Right. Whatever I'm writing, write down. Okay. Means AS 29 used to say only obligation. And normally when they say obligation means legal obligation. So what is legal obligation? First let us understand that legal obligation are those obligations which arises either due to contract or due to any law or due to any other legislation. Correct now? So either due to contract, legislation or any other obligation of law. Any other act means either due to contract or due to act. Means when I say income tax payable, legal obligation due to act. Or we have done right now one contract. that I will teach you, you need to pay now. So you have an obligation to pay. That is a contractual obligation. That is a contractual obligation. So you have an obligation to pay. So legal obligation arises due to act or due to contract. That is legal obligation. Have you understood? I think no doubt about legal obligation. I think no doubt about legal obligation. So what is constructive obligation? Let me say one example. Right now we have done one contract that I will teach you and you will pay. My question to you, contract, which party have a right and which party have an obligation? Have you understood? We have done one contract that I will teach you, you will pay. So which party have an obligation, which party have a right? Just two party na. So sir and student. Sir has an obligation right and you have, so who will pay? You have a right to pay or obligation to pay. Means in a normal contract, both party will have their right, both party will have an obligation. Means just try to understand in contract, I have a right to receive consideration and I have an obligation to perform my services. Correct? As per this contract, from your point of view, you have a right to receive services from me and an obligation to pay what? Consideration. Means in a normal contract, I have an obligation to perform services. You have an obligation to pay consideration. Both have an obligation. Now, my question to you all, in which books of account Ind AS 37 will be applicable? In your books or in my books? Obligation, obligation. अरे बोला रे, I have an obligation to perform services. You have an obligation to pay consideration. So in which books Ind AS 37 will applicable? My books or your books? Both books. अरे बोलना रे, nalayak, till now you have not understood. Till now you have not understood. Liability means present obligation arising from past event which is expected to result in outflow of resource. Fine, what is outflow of resource? I have an obligation to pay. I have an obligation to provide services. There is no outflow of resource. In your books, there is an outflow of resource. In days 37 will be applicable in your books if the amount is not known. So obligation, which obligation? Outflow of resource wala obligation. Am I right? What do you think? Am I right? The performance obligation is not covered here. Performance obligation is not covered. So should you want to write down? Write down. Don't write for confusion. Don't write. This performance obligation detailed discussion will be doing under Ind AS 115. But I think you have understood performance obligation will be not covered because there is no outflow resource there. Understood? Have you understood this point? So we are discussing about which obligation to pay some consideration either in the form of cash or in the form of asset. Now what is constructive obligation? Legal obligation, you have understood legal obligation. Now we have done one contract right now. But during the course of contract, means when I was teaching, I have done one announcement. I have made one announcement. And this announcement is real announcement only. This is applicable to you also. See what announcement I am just making, just listen it. Any student who score, any student who score 90 or more than 90 marks in FR in the exam conducted by ICI in any attempt, first attempt, second attempt, understood? Any student who have taken classes from me has scored, will score 90 or more than 90 in the exam conducted by ICI. I will refund 50% of the fee. But whether this is a contract, this announcement made, whether it is a contract, not a contract. Because I mean, right now I have given an offer, but you have not accepted it. Huh? accepted, but there's no acceptance now. I've done only announcement. I've done one announcement. It is not a contract. It is not a contract. What can you say? The, whenever you write exam, if you score 90 or more than 90, I have an obligation to pay the 50% of fees. So there's an obligation, and this is known as constructive obligation. In Ind 37 says that Ind 37 says that it will be applicable for constructive obligation. Means now for constructive obligation we need to recognize provision. Have you understood the constructive obligation? The constructive obligation means any obligation which derive from entity's own action, entity own action, entity's own action. Correct. Right now I have done announcement. That is my own action. It may be due to past practice. It may be due to past practice. Just try to understand. Now, suppose in all my past batches, I was refunding 50% of students who scored 90 or more than. Came here with that understanding. You have some expectation from me or not? You have some expectation. If you also score, you will also get what? Refund of 50% fee. Correct? Yes or no? So it may be due to past practice or published policies. For example, I have not done any announcement in my class, but you have seen my website. In website, one note that any score 90 or more than 90% of you. But I have not done any announcement in the class, but you came here with that understanding. You have some expectation or not? Yes. This is also a constructive obligation. Understood? So it may be due to past practice or published policies or due to specific statement, announcement that only we have done right now. Have you understood what I am saying? It may be due to past practice, published policy or specific statement which indicate that entity will accept the responsibility. Of course, when I have done announcement in the class, I will accept that responsibility. Otherwise, so I will not do announcement only. Why I will do announcement? But right now I have done announcement, so I accept my responsibility. Am I right or not? And which create a valid expectation on the part of other party. Once I have done announcement, you have some expectation from me or not? You have some expectation. It means it is a constructive obligation, and because I have announced it, and suppose Ind AS is applicable to me, I'll create a provision for constructive obligation if all the conditions are satisfied. Have you understood? So can I understood that you have understood constructive obligation? So constructive obligation derived from entity's own action. It may be either due to past practice or due to published policy or due to specific statement which indicate that entity will accept the responsibility and which will get a valid expectation on the part of other party. Can you repeat? Constructive obligation arises from entity's own action. It arises due to past practice or due to published policy or due to specific statement which indicate that entity will accept the responsibility and which create valid expectation on the part of other party. In this fourth time you revise, you can write in exam. Exactly not, but in your own words. In exam, na keywords are very important. You can't change these keywords. So if you change the keyword, the meaning will change. There is no need to write down exactly the same, but keywords are important. You should focus on keywords. If you can memorize that keyword and if you are writing that keyword in exam, they will be full. So they will understand Ind AS. Understood this point? Correct? Have you understood? One rule is there of C exam. ICI don't give marks for characters. Don't give full marks for characters. Understood? They will give full marks for the best tense. May be correct, but your answer may not be as per the requirement of ICI. Understood? I've already said they will choose best among. So your answer may be correct, but your answer should be as per the requirement of ICS. See, now you should know how to write best tense. How to write best tense. Understood? So our focus will not be on correct answer, our focus will be on best answer. Got it? I think coming to once again point number C. Point number C. I think all these conditions you have understood. First condition is what? There is a present obligation arising from past event. Outflow of resource which is required to settle the obligation is also probable. And reliable estimation can be made for the amount of timing for the obligation. Now if we compare first and second condition. First condition is present obligation. What is the meaning of present obligation? That obligation must be probable. So it means obligation should be probable on reporting date. And what is second condition? Outflow of resource must be also probable. Probable means chances are more than 50%. So whether point number 1 and 2 are same or different. When I am saying present obligation means obligation must be probable. Second is that outflow of resource must be also probable. So whether both are same or different. Have you understood what I am saying? Because I am teaching at that level where you can't imagine. I am just going one by one word. Even I stop here, you will not realize that I am not teaching. I not ask this doubt to me. You'll never ask me this doubt. And if I proceed, then you will never understand this point. Correct? So don't worry, I will only create a doubt being a means I will only become a student and I'll create many doubt. Understood? So my question to you all is first point and second point are same or different? Different only, therefore two conditions. What is that difference that we need to understand now? First condition they are saying obligation must be probable and second outflow must be probable. Obligation means chances of occurrence should be more than what 50%. Means chances of occurrence of that event must be what? More than 50%. Occurrence means when I have given the rainfall wala example, cloud, black cloud. When I am saying present obligation, the chances of that rain, whether it will come or it will not come, the chances of rainfall will be more than 50%. That is what? First condition. And once the rain will come, so there may be some loss, and due to loss, there will be some outflow of resource. That outflow of resource must be also probable. Means if first condition is satisfied, chances of rain is very high, but you can avoid what outflow of resource, then if the second condition is not satisfied, then no provision is required. No provision is. So all the three conditions need to be satisfied. I hope now you have understood the difference between point number 1 and point number 2. Point number 1 is for chances of occurrence and point number 2 is for chances of outflow of resource. Correct? Let me take some example. And just start with some basic example. Basic example means whatever example you have done in CA intern. Because AS 29 Indians, that is when are same only. And whatever example right now I am taking, this question have been asked in CA inter exam. You might be knowing also. Example. Suppose this is what? What? What you can understand? What? Follow. Aeroplane. Means I'm a good artist. You can understand my emotions, na? This is an aeroplane. Aeroplane? You know aeroplane? Huh? So suppose this is one company, Air India. Now Air India is taken over by Air India taken over by Tata, na? Let us assume this is the Air India company. So Air India purchased one aeroplane for public transportation. Now there is one act, National Aviation Act. Okay, there is one act. As per that act, we are using some aeroplane for public transportation. But that aeroplane require major inspection after every 3 or rehauling expenses after every 3. Understood? So it require rehauling after every 3 years. Why? Because can you say, so it is a used for public transportation, so each part needs to be inspected after every 3 years to avoid accident. Even though it is maintained in good condition by that company. Now there is an act, there is a legal obligation. Once you purchase, that obligation arises. Now after 3 years, of course there will be outflow of resource. Correct now? Am I right or not? My question to you is, should we create a provision? Yes or no? Should we create a provision? Have you noticed the entire story? Correct. Have you done this type of example in C enter? Question asked in C enter only. You have not done this type of questions. Or you have forgotten. I think you have forgotten, na? बोलना रही. बोलो. अच्छा. Forget about C enter. Now we are in CA final and we are doing that concept only. बताओ. Should we create provision or we should not create provision? We have to create provision. Let us understand. First condition. Present obligation arising from past event. Satisfied? So there is a legal obligation and chances of occurrence is also very high. The first condition is satisfied. But whether outflow of resource is probable. Can I say within 3 years, means before 3 years, we may discard this aeroplane, we may dispose of this aeroplane, we may sell this aeroplane. Bolo yes or no? So then there is no outflow only. Can I say outflow of resource will arise when you are using it after 3 years, na? Is can I say the outflow of resource can be avoided? Can be avoided or not? And therefore, no provision is required. The second condition is not satisfied. Means can I say just try to understand this obligation is dependent on future conduct of business. This obligation is actually dependent on future conduct of entity's business. And therefore, India 37 says that provision will not be recognized because it is dependent on entity's future conduct. So what India 37 says that only those obligations which exist independently from entity's future conduct of business should be recognized. Only those obligations which independently from entity's future conduct of business should be recognized. Otherwise, we should not recognize what? Provision. I hope this example you have understood. Correct? Yes or no? So what they are saying? Only those obligations which exist independently. Have you understood? Only those obligations which exist independently from entity's future conduct of business should be recognized. In other words, obligations which are dependent on future conduct of business should not be recognized as provision because outflow of resource is not probable. Let me take one more example. Suppose, just try to understand. Suppose this is your office and there are many employees, correct? And suppose these are accounting employee, understood? They do all accounting works and tax work, accounting and tax. Now what happened? Income Tax Act is amended or GST Act is amended. Let us say in this. Now because there is an amendment in the act, so this employee required training. Training means expenses will be incurred in future for training. Have you understood? There is once act is amended, this is past event. There is a present obligation arising from past event. Should be recognized provision. Hello. Should be recognized provision. Should be recognized provision. Yes or no? No. Just try to understand. We don't require provision. Just try to understand. We can hire a trained employee only. We can hire a trained employee. Bolo yes or no? Or training may be done by some internal parties only. Training can be given by some internal party for which there is no outflow resource. Quite possible. Now suppose I am a CA here, so I will only give the training. Am I right or not? So it means outflow resource is not probable. It depends upon future conduct of business. Right now we don't know what decision will be taken by entities. So it depends upon future conduct of business. Therefore outflow is not probable. Therefore provision will not be required. Provision will not be. One more example. Can we take one more example? मजा आ रहा है? हाँ, correct. One more example. This is what? Huh? What? बोलो. Factory. Doing lot of pollutions. Doing lot of pollution. This point have you understood? Now. Now there is one announcement here, one notice from government. Is this factory receive a notice from government that you need to fit some smoke filters to avoid pollution in environment. Correct. And they have given a time of 1 year or 6 for fitting of that smoke. Understood? Correct. Now whether we should recognize a provision for this. This fitting of a smoke filter may require also outflow resource. Should we create a provision for this? Have you understood the point? No. Follow? Suppose the fitting of a smoke filter, the expenditure is 1 crore. Should we create a provision for this? Yes or no? So yes बोल दो, no बोल दो, whatever you want to say. देखो in exam you have two options. In exam you have two options. Either do or do only. There is no option to leave it na. Either you'll do correct or you'll do wrong, but do it na. Simple. So say yes or no. How many are saying yes? How many are saying no? So no means you have understood why you are not reacting. To react na. Why no? Because once again it is depend upon what? The conduct of business. Entity may decide to close down factory only. Entity may decide to close down factory only na. If they will close down factory, then this fitting is not required only. So it depends upon future conduct of business. It depends upon future conduct of business and therefore provision will not be required. Have you understood? This is a very important paragraph from examination point of view. Very important paragraph from examination point of correct. Last point for today. Point number E. This point number D to you have understood. Point number D you have understood. Point number B. We all know that obligation involve other party. All obligation will involve other party. Now the question is that whether to recognize provision we should the identification of either party. Means if we don't know the identification of other parties, should we get a provision? Let me take one example. Suppose we are event organizer. Means we organize event. and we organize one event, but due to some fault, accident happened because the public was crowded, lot of people came, accident happened, some of the public got injured, some died. Quite possible. So the relative of that public filed a case against that organization. It is high. There is a high probability as per the law that we are going to choose the case, and we need to pay compensation to the either the injured person or nominee of. There is a probability that we need to pay compensation. High probability. Amount is also known because a recent case was decided against the company. Have you understood? But what entity is saying that we don't know the identification of that person whom we need to compensate. We don't know name, address. Right now we don't know. Let a decision come. Let us know the party to whom we need to pay. Then we'll create a provision. Right only. I mean, right now decision has not came. Let a decision came. Let us know the identity of person. Let us know the address of that person. Then only we'll pay now. So right now we'll not create. We are waiting for the decision, whether it is correct or wrong. Is whether they should create or they should not create provision. They should create provision. So what India 37 says, all obligation involve other party. It is not essential to know the identity of other party for recognition of correct. But just try to understand when these questions comes in exam that they will create a story in such a way that you will have a doubt if the concept. So it means all answer is based on concept. You only say whether understanding concept is important or understanding the solution of that question is important. If you know the concept, any solution you can do. So reading question and solution will make you pass or reading concept will make you pass. Practice is required. But before practice, you should be totally thorough in the concept. Once again, I am saying my focus will be on conceptual understanding. Understood? Now, what is my style of teaching? Dhire dhire means I'll go step by step. Usually, I'll start with those Indias for which actually some AS was covered in CA. I will not directly start with the new Indias which you don't know till now. Understood? Dhire dhire I'll build you as per my level. Then we'll enter into CA final. It's totally new chapter. Understood? Means for 10 class, first 10 class, so I'll be doing those Indias. Actually, you have done in what? CA enter. And then we'll enter into what? CA final, totally new chapter. So I'm just giving you time that change as per my teaching. Otherwise, I will also die, you will also die. Correct? Because if you will not change, so I'll be also in trouble. Na? So you need to understand my teaching style. Dhire dhire you need to adapt it. Correct? Okay, for today this much only. Thank you very much. We'll meet tomorrow. Till then, bye bye. Take care. Enjoy your evening day. Bye bye.